So, the final bits of the book. Let's find out what happens. So, this chapter is called Promise. Once safely back inside Saxby Hall, the pair sat down together in the drawing room. The girl rekindled the fire and told Soot the whole story. How Alberta was really his sister and had put him in a box and floated him down river when he was a baby. "That's how the people at the workhouse said I'd been found," Soot exclaimed. "Floating down the River Thames in a box." Stella told her uncle how his wicked sister had recognized him on his return and had deliberately lit the fire to be rid of him forever. Soot was amazed, but it was all coming together in his mind. "That day I showed up at Saxby Hall, I knew I'd been here before. I could feel it in me bones." The ghost's eyes widened as he took all of this in. "Well, who would have thunk it? Little old me, a lord! Ha ha!" The chimney sweep laughed uproariously at the idea and began affecting what he thought sounded like a posh accent. "Hello, I'm a lord, don't you know? What? Now Stella was laughing too. "But it is true. This whole place is rightfully yours. I feel bad now for thinking you were just a little oik." Soot chuckled. "No need, my lady. No, I shouldn't have been such a snob. Now I know it. It really doesn't matter if you grew up in a workhouse or a palace. We are all the same, really." The ghost smiled at her. "We certainly are, my lady. You don't have to keep telling me that. Just Stella would be fine." "Right, you are, my lady Stella." The pair chuckled together. Then Soot couldn't resist saying with a cheeky smile, "But you have to call me your lordship." Just then, the great-grandfather clock in the hallway chimed midnight. Bong, 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 bong. It was Christmas Eve. Stella realized. Her birthday. "I've just turned 13, she said excitedly. The ghost looked crestfallen at the thought. "What's the matter?" she asked. "You're growing up. Very soon you won't be able to see me anymore." "I'll always be able to see you," Stella protested. "No," the ghost shook his head. "Grown-ups never can." It was hard for Stella to notice at first, but the outline of the ghost was becoming fainter. "You are fading," she said softly. "What did I tell you, my lady? We best say goodbye now." "But I don't want you to go," she pleaded. "You are all the family I've got left." "Oh, I'm not going anywhere," replied the ghost. But you are vanishing now, right in front of my eyes." "I told you I would. You wanted nothing more than to be older, but being a child is such a special thing. When you're a child, you can see the magic in the world." The girl's heart was breaking. "Then I don't ever want to be a grown-up." The ghost's light was almost gone now. Stella didn't dare blink in case when she opened her eyes, she would be gone altogether. "Everyone has to grow up in the end," replied the ghost. "But even though you won't be able to see me, I'll always be here, right at your side. Now promise me one thing, my lady." The ghost was becoming fainter and fainter now. Yes, what?" pleaded Stella. "Promise me that even though you can't see magic in the world with your eyes anymore, you'll believe in it with all your heart." "I promise," she whispered. The last thing Stella could make out was the faintest outline of the ghost's smile. And then he was gone. So the last chapter is over, and now this is what is called the epilogue. The epilogue is something that's written after the book is over. So the main story is over, but there is something that the author still wants to say, or some part of the story that still remains. So that's going to come now as the epilogue. Okay, so this is the final bit of the book. It was an unusual Christmas Day lunch that year at Saxby Hall. Just the three of them sat around the long dining table: Stella, Wagner, and Gibbon. Instead of the traditional turkey with all the trimmings, the ancient butler served up a roast hedge. It was very tough and not at all tasty, but it was the thought that counted. A hedge is a bush, okay, that you use to grow on the edge of a boundary. So that's what our dear old butler Gibbon had prepared for Christmas. As Boxing Day came and went, the girl realized she needed to face the truth of what was now to become of her. As much as she wanted to stay at Saxby Hall, Stella knew she couldn't look after the whole house on her own. So she reconnected the telephone and called for help. Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. I don't know why it's called Boxing Day. I think I can find out and tell you later. Being still legally a child, those in charge decided that Stella needed to be packed off to an orphanage. Only when she reached the age of 18 could she officially inherit Saxby Hall. The orphanage was teeming with children who had also lost their parents or had never known them. It was home to the poorest of the poor. Despite the best efforts of the kindly matron who ran it, the orphanage was incredibly cramped. The hundreds of children shared one dormitory. A dormitory is a large hall where lots of beds are kept and people can sleep there. They had to sleep 4 to a bed. Baths were just once a month. There was nowhere they could go to play outside. Of course, Stella had grown up in a life of privilege, in a vast country house. Though she did her best to hide it, living at the orphanage made her sad. Now Stella understood why poor Soot had run away from the workhouse. Some nights she would cry herself to sleep. Stella wished for her life to be better, not just for her, but for all the children there. So one morning, she went to the matron with an idea. Why not move the whole orphanage to Saxby Hall? If you are sure, Lady Saxby, said the matron. It's just Stella, and yes, I'm sure, replied the girl. What use is a huge house like that with no people inside? A big smile spread across the matron's face. It's a splendid idea. The children will be so happy. They'll absolutely love it. Indeed, they did. At last, all the little ones had their own beds. There were piping hot baths every night. In summer, there were games on the lawn and swimming in the lake. In fact, it always felt like summer at Saxby Hall now. The ancient butler Gibbon kept all the orphans entertained with his antics. Some of the braver children even went for rides on the back of a great Bavarian mountain owl called Wagner. Of course, Stella grew up, but Saxby Hall stayed a home for children. It was the happiest orphanage in the world. Today, if you visit there, you might see a very old woman out on the lawn playing games with some of the young orphans. That very old woman's name is Stella Saxby. She's over 90 years old and doesn't let anyone call her lady anymore. Just Stella is fine. If you are a child, you might just be able to make out something else. Something none of the grown-ups can see. The ghost of a little chimney sweep playing happily with all the other children on the lawn. Lord Soot. So that's it. Awful Auntie is over. I had so much fun reading this book to you all. I hope you all had fun listening to it. We'll have more readings and I'll see you all on Monday. Bye.